Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय राधा वल्लभ राधा वल्लभ राधे, जय राधा वल्लभ राधा वल्लभ राधे, जय गौरनिताय 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 गौरनिताय, जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेव, जय सुभद्रा देवी, जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद, जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, and all glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. It's 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 23, entitled Maharaj Prithu's Going Back Home, Text 26. Saisha nunam vrajatyurdvam Saisha nunam vrajatyurdvam Anuvainyam patim sati Anuvainyam patim sati Pashyatasmanatityarchir Pashyatasmanatityarchir Durvibhavyena karmana Durvibhavyena karmana Saisha nunam vrajatyurdhvam Anuvainyam patim sati Pashyatasmanatityarchir Durvibhavyena karmana. Please kindly chant. Vaishnavis. Sa, she, Esha, this, Nunam, certainly, vrajati, going, urdhvam, upward, anu, following, vainyam, the son of Vena, patim, husband, sati, chaste, pashyata, just see, asman, us, atitya, overpassing, archihi, of the name Archi, durvibhavyena, by inconceivable karmana, activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. The wives of the demigods continued, just see how this chaste lady Archi, by dint of her inconceivable pious activities, is still following her husband upward as far as we can see. Please kindly repeat. The wives of the demigods continued. Just see how this chaste lady Archi, by dint of her inconceivable pious activities, is still following her husband upward as far as we can see. Now this is the purport from Srila Prabhupada. Both Prithu Maharaj's airplane and the airplane carrying Queen Archi were passing out of the vision of the ladies of the higher planetary systems. These ladies were simply astonished to see how Prithu Maharaj and his wife achieved such an exalted position. Although they were the wives of the denizens of the higher planetary system, and Prithu Maharaj was an inhabitant of an inferior planetary system, namely the earth, the king along with his wife passed through the realms of the demigods and went upward to Vaikuntha Loka. The word urdhvam or upward is significant here, for the ladies speaking were from the higher planetary systems, which include the moon, the sun, Venus, up to Brahmaloka, or the highest planet. Beyond Brahmaloka is the spiritual sky, and in that spiritual sky there are innumerable Vaikuntha Lokas. Thus the word urdhvam indicates that the Vaikuntha planets are beyond or above these material planets, and it was to these Vaikuntha planets that Prithu Maharaj and his wife were going. This also indicates that when Prithu Maharaj and his wife Archi abandoned their material bodies in the material fire, they immediately developed their spiritual bodies and entered into spiritual airplanes which could penetrate the material elements and reach the spiritual sky. Since they were carried by two separate airplanes, it may be concluded that even after being burned in the funeral pyre, they remained separate, individual persons. In other words, they never lost their identity or became void, as imagined by the impersonalists. The ladies in the higher planetary systems were capable of seeing both downward and upward. When they looked down, they could see that the body of Prithu Maharaj was being burnt and that his wife Archi was entering into the fire, and when they looked upward, they could see how they were being carried in two airplanes to the Vaikuntha Lokas. All of this is possible simply by durvibhavyena karmana, inconceivable activity. Prithu Maharaj was a pure devotee, and his wife Queen Archi simply followed her husband. Thus they can both be considered pure devotees, and thus they are capable of performing inconceivable activities. Such activities are not possible for ordinary men. Indeed, ordinary men cannot even take to the devotional service of the Lord, nor can ordinary women maintain such vows of chastity and follow their husbands in all respects. A woman does not need to attain high qualifications, but if she simply follows in the footsteps of her husband, who must be a devotee, then both husband and wife attain liberation and are promoted to the Vaikuntha Lokas. This is evinced by the inconceivable activities of Maharaj Prithu and his wife. Hare Krishna. It's my honor and privilege to be back here at the historic Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir. Thank you all for kindly joining in the daily reading of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. One time when Srila Prabhupada was in North America, he was looking through his quarters outside the window, and he saw one of his disciples walking in with sari. She had some books in her hand, nice tilak, and Prabhupada's eyes went wide, and he immediately called his servant and said, "Is she coming from preaching? Did she go out for preaching?" So the servant said, "Yes, Prabhupada, she went out with your books. She took your books out and she was preaching all day." Prabhupada said, "Can you call her to my room? I want to talk to her." So the servant signaled and called the disciple into the room. Now she was shivering in fear. She walked in and bowed down to Srila Prabhupada close to the door. And Srila Prabhupada was sitting behind the table. And he signaled to her, "Come close." So she was afraid. She came a couple of steps ahead. Prabhupada said, "No, close, sit, come close." So she came very close to the table. So it was Prabhupada, Prabhupada's male servant and secretary, and this Mataji. And Prabhupada said, "So you're coming from preaching?" She said, "Yes, Prabhupada." And Prabhupada said, "So where were you? Where did you go?" She said, "I went to the airport. And I went in the morning and I was there all day at the airport." And Prabhupada said, "Book distribution?" "Yes, Prabhupada." Prabhupada had, just a cloth on the top. He didn't have a kurta. He had like a sannyas cloth on the top. And Prabhupada relaxed with his hand. And he started asking with so much affection, "So what's the result? What kind of people did you meet?" So she said, "Prabhupada, I met students, I met professors, I met housewives, I met doctors, I met so many." And Prabhupada said, More? And she said, "I even met a couple of politicians and ministers." And Prabhupada said, "What do they say? What do you tell them and what do they reply?" And she said, I hand your book and I speak about this book." Prabhupada said, "What do you say?" She said, "I say that in the dark age of Kali Yuga, we all have relative knowledge. We are all selfish, so we kind of give the knowledge from our perspective to make a win-loss situation. But there's only one person who's speaking the truth, and that is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. He's speaking selflessly for the benefit of everyone, so it's a win-win situation. So please take these books and read them and see what message Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is giving today." I tell them like this. And Prabhupada smiled and he said, "Yes. And what did they say?" And she said, "Prabhupada, they like your books." Prabhupada said, "More? What do they say? What do they comment?" They flip these books and they say, "It's bold and straight and uncompromising." And Prabhupada said, "Yes, my Guru Maharaj was like that, and I am trying to follow his footsteps." And Prabhupada called for the first canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and instantly opened up. Canto 1, chapter 3, text 43. The famous, please kindly repeat, "Krishne swadhamopagate dharma jnanadibhisah kalau nashtadrishameta puranarkadunoditah Prabhupada opened this verse and read out the translation. Krishne swadhama upagate. As soon as Krishna left this material plane, dharma jnana adibhi saha. Spiritual transcendental principles, transcendental knowledge, and all principles of genuine religiosity left with him. And when all the light left with him, what was left was darkness. And that is called Kali. Kalau nashtat drishametah. Then after going there, Krishna saw, because of my absence, Kali has become dark. And therefore, to give light, Purana Arka Adhuna Udita. In the form of the son of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Krishna reincarnated in Kali. Prabhupada explained and smiled and told his disciples, see how beautifully Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is selling himself. And Prabhupada said, I read this verse and it inspires me to read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So why not everyone else too? And in this way, Prabhupada told the disciple that we personally have to read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, we have to propagate the message of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and we have to distribute the structure, that is the book, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. He said we have to learn ourselves, we have to propagate the message which is preaching, and at the same time share the books. In this way, Prabhupada was very happy. So that is the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam that we start our day with. We have the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam who's beaming out, illuminating messages for all of us every single day. So in this very beautiful text, Canto 4, Chapter 23, Text 26, we see how Prithu Maharaj and his dear wife, Archi, are going back home, back to Godhead. And the significant point here is the demigoddess, the wives of the demigods, Prabhupada very beautifully mentions, they can look down and they can look up. So they look down to see how Prithu Maharaj from the earthly plane is going upward, which means Paramam Padam, towards the abode of Sri Vishnu, Vaikuntha. In the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, there are other instances also where you see that the demigods are looking down. And one classic example is when Krishna plays the flute. When Krishna is playing the flute in Canto 10, Chapter 35, it's so fascinating. Shukadeva Goswami describes how Krishna is playing it and what effect it is creating on the demigods and their wives. Shukadeva Goswami sings, Vama bahu krita vama kapolo valgeta bhrur adhar arpita venum komalanguli bir ashrita margam gopya irayati yatra mukunda. Shukadeva Goswami sings, Vama bahu, Krishna with his left hand, Vama bahu krita vama kapolo. He's placing his left cheek on his left hand. Vama bahu krita vama kapolo, and adhara arpita venum. He has given his lips to the flute. Whether he has placed the flute on the lips or whether he has surrendered his lips to the flute is still a matter of conflict. Because it is described, Krishna plays the flute so much that when he comes home and Mother Yashoda is so happy to see him, she embraces and she kisses Krishna on the cheek and asks baby Krishna to reciprocate with the mother's kiss. He says, I am too tired. So Mother Yashoda has some transcendental anger towards the flute. This flute is sucking so much energy out of my baby Krishna that he comes home tired. So Adhara Arpita Venum, he has surrendered his lips to the flute. And what is he doing? Komala Anguli, with his soft little fingers, Ashrita Margam, he is giving shelter to the holes of the flute. Shukadeva Goswami could have said Krishna is playing the flute. But he doesn't say that. He says Krishna has given his lips to the flute and he's running his little tender fingertips on the shelterless holes of the flute. Which means even if they are the holes of the flute who don't have a shelter about them, Krishna is ready to fill them with his fingertips to give shelter to those who are shelterless. And in this way he's playing. And the most interesting thing is, as he's doing this, his eyebrows are dancing. So Krishna's playing the flute and he looks to his friends and he has dancing eyebrows. He's telling them, look at this, to the left, and then look to the right, look to the left, look to the right, because there are astonishing effects around. As Krishna's playing the flute to the left, you see the cows and the calves are stunned like painted pictures. They're confused whether to eat the grass and fill their mouth or to drink the nectar of Krishna's form through the pots of their eyes, or to fill the nectar of Krishna's flute sound on the pots of their ears. In simple words, their mouth are full and their hearts are overfull. That is happening to the left. So when all the friends come in, Krishna is showing them, look what's happening here, to the left. And then as they're paying attention there, Mother Earth is trembling in happiness. So Krishna says, look what's happening here. And they are looking there. And then Krishna says, to the right, left, right. His eyeballs are moving and his eyebrows are dancing. Nartita bru. Bru means eyebrows. And Shukadeva Goswami says nartana. Even Krishna's eyebrows are dancing on top of his eyes. As his fingers are dancing on top of the holes. As his feet are dancing on top of Mother Earth. And as his flute is dancing in the hearts of the Brajvasis. So when all of this is happening, finally as the friends of Krishna are confused whether to look left or right or below, Krishna finally says, look above. And as they all look up, the point that we are connecting is, all the demigods are present in their celestial planes. And they're literally fastening their seatbelts because they fear they will jump out. And some places, the demigods are even holding their wives because they fear they're going to jump from the airplane. So this, by the way, is the effect of Krishna playing Sa. It's not even Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni Sa. And what to speak of playing songs after that? It's just one note, and that's what's happening. The Venu Madhuri. So when Radha Vallabha is holding the flute, please don't underestimate the flute. He can shake the temple with the flute. So here the demigods and the demigoddess, they have habitual experiences of looking down. So that's what Prabhupada says, the demigoddess can look down and at the same time they can look up. Very beautiful point Prabhupada makes in the purport, that when Prithu Maharaj and his wife gave up their bodies into the fire, they retained their spiritual identity. So point number one, we are more than these bodies. Because if we were these bodies, Prithu Maharaj and his wife would cease to exist as they are burnt into the fire. But the body was burnt, they being soul retained their identity. That's one. And second, they retain their distinct identity. Because some believe that we are all trapped in this body, and when the body is destroyed, we merge into thin air or Brahman. And the example they give is also very convincing. They say, just like there's a pot, and the pot is filled with vacuum or let's say air, and outside there is air, and inside there is air. As soon as you break the pot, the air mixes into air. And there's no difference between the air inside the pot and the air outside the pot. So pretty convincing that the bodies are like pots and we are like the air within, and the air outside is Brahman, and as soon as the body is destroyed, it all merges. But Prabhupada makes the point here that we are not just distinct from the body as the soul, point number one. Point number two, we are all different, eternal, distinct identities. We don't merge into Brahman, we maintain our identity. One student came to Srila Prabhupada from the Advaita school of Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya, Aham Brahmasmi, Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma, Pragyana Brahma. He came to Prabhupada. His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj told me this story. So it was very beautiful when I heard it from him. So Maharaj said, one boy came to Srila Prabhupada, and I believe this was in Boston. many, many years ago, 1969, I believe. So he came to Srila Prabhupada and he said, Srila Prabhupada, the rivers ultimately run into the ocean, isn't it? Prabhupada said, yes. So when they mix into the ocean, the rivers lose their identity, correct? So Prabhupada could know where he was going with that. Because he was attempting to say that we're all like rivers, and the Brahman is like the ocean, and in the end we all mix, and all that remains is the ocean, and the river loses its identity. Prabhupada smiled, because this boy was very sincere. He was open to correction. He wanted to seriously learn. So Prabhupada smiled and he said, that's a very good argument, but our philosophy is not to be the river merging into the ocean. Our philosophy is to become the fish. We get into the ocean, but we still remain distinct and we maintain our identity. So at liberation, yes, we do enter the ocean of the spiritual world, but that doesn't mean we become Brahman, but we remain like fishes swimming in the blue waters of Goloka. This was Prabhupada's brilliant response. Jayadvaita Maharaj said, as soon as I heard that, in my heart I said, wow. Like this, without a second thought, Prabhupada could shoot. So in this context, what is the lesson that this verse is speaking out loud to all of us? The context here is how Prithu Maharaj's wife assisted and served Prithu Maharaj, who was a pure devotee and undoubtedly a Shakti Avesh avatar of the Lord. And as a result of which, both of them went back home, back to Godhead. So what is the lesson that we can learn from this verse? The husband and wife is definitely a context here, but in the broader sense, what it means is if we can assist and serve a superior Vaishnava, a pure devotee, then we get elevation in that process. Doesn't matter what the relationship is, whether it is the husband and the wife, whether it is the father and the son, whether it is the disciple or the spiritual master. The fundamental principle is the more we serve superior, sincere, elevated, exalted Vaishnavas, we partake in the credit of their performance of devotional service. Few striking examples for this, talking about the husband and wife example. Jagannath's dear devotee, Jayadev Goswami. We know the story how Shripad Jayadev Goswami, when he was composing the Gita Govinda, for the pleasure of Lord Jagannath, he came to the 19th song, and in his meditation, he perceived how Radharani was in a sulking mood, and therefore Krishna was offering prayers to Srimati Radharani that, "O Srimati Radharani, please give up your sulking anger and kindly place your lotus feet on my head. The crown on my head is the dust from your lotus feet." As we know, the devotees aspire to serve Krishna, and Krishna aspires to serve his devotees, headed by Srimati Radharani. So, Jayadev Goswami appeared about 400 and 500 years before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as we know, it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "Yadi gaur na hoito, tabe ki hoito, kemone dhare tamde, radhar mahima, prema rasosima, jagato janato ke." So it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who spread the glories of Radharani. So 400 years before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, the concept of Radha Tattva was pretty hidden. So Jayadev Goswami, when he saw this in his meditation, that Krishna is begging for the dust of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani on his head, Jayadev Goswami thought this is inappropriate to write. Not because the pastime is incorrect, the pastime is so lofty that people can't perceive. Because the fundamentals of Radharani's identity were yet to be revealed. So Jayadev Goswami dropped his pen and closed his book and told his dear wife Padmavati Devi that I am going to take my sacred bath in the holy river, and once I am back, I'll have prasadam and then I will continue writing. At a certain point in my composition, I am contemplating and meditating, so I need a break. So he dropped his pen, and as we know, he left. In a few minutes, there was a door knock, and it was Jayadev Goswami again. He told Padmavati Devi, "I remembered what I had to write, So let me quickly write and then forget the sacred bath. Let me just quickly write because I fear I may lose these words. So she said, as you wish. He came back and he wrote the line and told Padmavati Devi that I am actually very hungry. Can I have prasad? Padmavati Devi was very happy to serve him. And the culture was she would always eat, not just after Jayadev Goswami, she would eat on his remnant plate. Once he would finish eating, on that plate she would eat. So she was so chaste to him. So he finished eating and he told her, I'll be in my room writing, so you kindly honor prasadam. So she started honoring prasadam and there was a door knock and it was Jayadev Goswami. And she looks and she said, how did you come? I mean, I thought you were in the room. And he said, oh Devi, do you remember I said I'm going to take my bath? I just took my bath and I'm coming. But the astonishing thing is you are eating without me. Generally you eat after me and now you're eating without me. She said, do you remember? You came back, you said you had to compose something and you remember the structure of the words and you had to write it down. So you wrote and then you said you're hungry, so I offered prasadam and you honored prasadam. Then you sat in the room to continue writing and I'm eating on your remnant plate. He said, I have been bathing all through. I never came. She said, no, you did. He can't believe short-term memory loss. No, you did come. He said, no, I went to take my bath and I'm just coming now. He said, wait a minute, please tell me what happened. And then she narrated the whole story and he went into the room to see that room and there was no Jayadev in that room. That room was fragrant with the smell of the flower garland that was offered to Jagannath that day. Jayadev Goswami went there and opened up the copy that he had to write, the book. And the line that he was hesitating to write, Jagannath himself came as Jayadev Goswami to write that sentence. Smaragarala khandanam mama shirasi mandanam dehi padapallavam udaram Shri Radhe dehi padapallavam udaram. So Jayadev Goswami was little hesitant to write this, whether or not I could write Krishna taking the foot dust of Radharani on the head. But it was Jagannath's sweet will that he himself came as Jayadev and wrote. Now what was the interesting thing? As soon as Jayadev Goswami realized that it was Jagannath who came as a form which depicted another Jayadev, Jayadev Goswami offered his obeisances to Padmavati Devi, his wife. And it is described, she was in tears. Why are you doing this? She offered her obeisances and he would offer his obeisances and she would offer. And then she asked him, why are you offering your obeisances to me? You're my husband, you're my Siksha Guru. Why are you offering obeisances? And he wept and he said, what Siksha Guru are you talking about? I am writing for the pleasure of the Lord. You are assisting me and serving me in this endeavor. And look at Krishna's sweet will. He didn't give me darshan. He came and gave you darshan. And not just that, you had the fortune of feeding the Lord of the universe. And now you're eating on the remnant plate of Krishna's prasad. And I don't have it. You have it. And all of this, O Padmavati, is because I am trying to serve Krishna and you are trying to serve me. Again, tying back to this concept. Archie getting higher elevation. Urdhvam vrajati. She's going upward because she's assisting her husband Prithu Maharaj, just like Padmavati Devi assists Jayadev. Now the interesting thing is, Jayadev Goswami doesn't include his wife's name in any of the composition. All of his compositions end with his name. Shri Jayadeva Kaver Idamuditam, etc. So even in the Dashavatara Stotra you can see Shri Jayadeva Kave. Jayadev Goswami adds his name as the author. Just like Prarthana Karoe Sada Narotama Das. But only in this song, the 19th song, where Padmavati Devi was showered mercy by Jagannath, in the last line he sings, Jayatu Padmavati Ramana Jaya Deva Kavi Munchamai Manam Nidhanam Priye Charushile. Only in the last line of this song he says, Jayatu Padmavati. Oh, all glories to Padmavati. Ramana Jayadeva Kavi. And the song is written by Jayadev, who relishes the mercy offered by the Lord to Padmavati. So the point is so striking that countless such cases have been reported in Shastra and in contemporary society, whereby serving an exalted Vaishnav in the form of the husband, then one makes advancement. This is not the only case as far as the relationship is concerned. In other relationships as well. In the same 4th canto, we see the story of Dhruva Maharaj. How Dhruva Maharaj did austerity, tapasya. And because it was Suniti Devi, his own mother, who motivated him, in some ways, she was the Path Pradarshaka Guru or Vartma Pradarshaka Guru. She was the one who pointed the direction for Dhruva Maharaj. When Dhruva Maharaj came and he was furious, the Bhagavatam describes the Kshatriya blood was boiling at the age of 5. And he came and told his mother, what is this nonsense? What is going on? And Suniti Devi is so brilliant in seeing the hand of the Lord. This is sometimes something that we miss. You know, there is this very beautiful example in this context. When you throw a bone in front of a dog, the dog is busy seeing the bone. But when you throw a bone in front of a lion, the lion is not so interested in seeing the bone, but is very much interested in the person throwing the bone.